Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s, giving their perspective on the games that we love, the headlines of pop culture, and the meaning behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. Another day, another dollar.
Absolutely, man. And we're joined by a special guest once again, Jeremy Ruffin. I'm a life coach, sports trainer, and motivational speaker and tutor at Ruff Path. He was recently on this past summer to do some finals talk, but thanks so much for being back on, sir.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, man, definitely. And we have a lot of topics to get into for this episode. In the first half, we're going to do some NBA and NFL topics. In the second half, some album reviews. And in the last half, a review of A Bronx Tale. But to start off with just the breaking news of Donovan Mitchell being traded to the Cavs and just thoughts on how this new fit will go for both sides. In this blockbuster deal done earlier today, the Jazz are receiving Larry Markkinen, Okai Agbaji, Colin Sexton, and Cleveland's unprotected first-round picks in 2025, 2027, and 2029 as well. But to you, Jeremy, like looking at how Mitchell is joining a young core, and this is a very battle-tested defensive team, a young team coming up. Like, what are your thoughts on this deal, and also just how Utah is doing a complete rebuild?
So it's crazy because you text me today. I'm actually headed to my basketball workouts, and you said, make sure you put on the thing about Donovan Mitchell being traded. I'm like, Donovan Mitchell being traded? What? I ain't heard that. So it was news to me, man. So I got right on ESPN, and I checked it out. Man, listen, Colin Sexton is a basketball player, man. Like, I love watching him. But what's the other guard that they still have on that team for the Cavs?
Darius Garland.
Yeah, man, it's going to tremendously. I mean, how would you not want to be tutored and mentored by the best, one of the best to ever do it? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a win-win. The Jazz are trying to rebuild and do some things, so I thought it was great for them to get some of those young talent. Man, they got a lot of draft picks.
Yeah,
and they've got some flexibility to do some cool things moving forward. Whether they want to make some trades or they can dangle some carrots, man. I think it's cool. I think it's a win-win for both teams, man. I love how Cleveland plays. Is Kevin Love still on their team?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great to have those veteran guys, man, that have been there and done that, man. You need that. Like, if a lot of people talk about youth, man, but you better have some veteran guys that can say, hey, man, this is what's going to happen. So I think it's a great trade.
Yeah, absolutely. To you, Savon, looking at this from both sides, obviously Donovan Mitchell, he's a young rising star. We haven't seen as much consistency from him in the postseason, but now he's going to a Cleveland team that wants to get back into that consistent postseason run. How do you think this works for both sides, and just what this new fit will be for him?
Well, before we even talked about the Utah Jazz getting rid of Rudy Gobert, what they're going to do with Donovan Mitchell, what was the next step for Utah Jazz, somebody had to be crazy enough to give them what they wanted for Donovan Mitchell. Why is it always got to be the Cavaliers to do the craziest things when it comes to trying to win? But I think they lost on this one. I think they lost.
Really?
Colin Sexton, I'm huge on him. I was huge on him coming out of Alabama. They didn't offer him the contract. They have Garland. They have a battered Kevin Love. They have a Jarrett that hasn't lived up to expectations. Excuse me. And a Donovan Mitchell that hasn't lived up to expectations. I don't know what they expect of Donovan Mitchell to do with this squad or do it to themselves, because he's not a CP3 who can go to an OKC team and make them immediately better. Yeah, transfer the entire basketball team and make it to the playoffs. And you see what happened after CP3 left. They went back to 24 and whatever number that they had. I don't know what they expect Donovan Mitchell, a.k.a. Spider, to do. He cannot finish in the postseason. He's the best player when it comes to regular season. He's another James Harden. The list goes on. What do they expect him to do? I think they lost. They gave up way too much for a player that hasn't solidified himself in the postseason. So Garland is a guy is going to be up, but I just don't think they have enough to be like, okay, we can change this around in the next 2-3 years. If you look at the ladder, he's already reached the ceiling to me and Donovan Mitchell. He's already reached that ceiling. It's no other. He's reached his cap. So there's no room for improvement for him in my eyes, especially him having that tenure with the Utah Jazz. So what's next for him? How do I win? You went to a team that hasn't won the championship since LeBron James. So now the expectation is high, but what specific expectations do they see from Donovan Mitchell? I don't see it. I don't know. That's the question I want to answer.
To you, Jeremy, like when you look at what Donovan Mitchell's done in his career so far, and just like where he compares against the younger players and the young rising stars in the league, like what do you think about where he's at currently in his career, and just what else he can do to, like, Savon feels as though he's hit his limit, but what do you think? What else like do you think he can do going forward?
I think that was a great point. I think they gave up a lot. When I was reading there on ESPN, I just couldn't believe how many draft picks they gave up. I thought that was a lot of picks and a lot of guys to give up. And not. I think that's fairly accurate as far as the ceiling part. You're only listen, man. You can put up all the stats you want during the season, man, but as a basketball coach, people only care about what you do in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't care about, well, you didn't have this guy or you didn't have that guy. Don't nobody care about that, man.
No,
they want to see
They
production.
definitely
So,
don't.
the East is getting tough, man.
It is.
They're getting better. So, I don't know how much better the Cavs got. I think it's gonna be great, man. It'll be a great test for them. Some people say they want to go and show that they can do it. Well, here's your opportunity.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you gotta be careful what you ask for. Sometimes you get it, and sometimes you don't know where you're gonna go. So he got it. So
Yeah, absolutely. And now getting into RJ Barrett finalizing his extension with the Knicks, and just how this is going to change what New York does for the rest of the offseason. Earlier this week the deal was finalized as a 4-year rookie extension contract that could be worth up to 120 million. And still at the same time, it complicated obviously what they were trying to do going forward to getting other stars. But looking at this deal and just kind of like the current level RJ Barrett is at, to you, Jeremy, like what did you think about this move for the Knicks, and just also like what they're trying to do going forward? Because a couple of years ago they were in the postseason and they've been close in terms of trying to like get the bigger stars, but now it's one of those things as though it seems as though they keep getting pushed back and not really getting what they want in terms of getting like the marquee players to their city.
it's so funny, man, because I'm a Cowboys fan, so Stephen A's always dogging us.
Yeah.
So I'm a dog Stephen A for being a Knicks fan. It's like, come on, man, like you guys got it.
He's been going through it. He's been going through it as a Knicks fan.
No, hard.
Yeah, man. Like I almost started to feel bad for him, man. Like, geez, y'all can't get anybody to come. RJ Barrett's a great player. I think he's good. I've seen a lot of progress in his game. He was extremely left-handed. I think he's really kind of added, quite a bit. But no drop off to him. He's a great player, but I just don't think the Knicks did enough to get to now. I love the fact that they're trying to get these big time guys, but I just don't think that they've taken that next step. But man, yeah, I'm excited about RJ Barrett, man. I love how he plays, how his game has matured. So, and I think he's learning a lot from Julius Randle. I think that's kind of been cool seeing those guys play together. So it's been cool.
Yeah, absolutely. To you, Savon, like looking at what the Knicks were doing with this, and just also, what they're trying to do going forward, and kind of the mistakes that they've had in the past in terms of trying to make certain acquisitions and not being successful in it. What are your thoughts on their decision to extend RJ Barrett, and just what they have going forward for this season?
I think they were looking at it as a long game. And we know the New York Knicks is a team, an organization who's willing to be patient and wait. We've seen that in multiple free agencies. They're a patient organization. I think they're still confident in RJ Barrett. And we talked about Donovan Mitchell reaching his ladder. I think RJ Barrett's ladder is visible. He hasn't reached that capacity just yet. He has room to improve. Has he lived up to expectations? No. Has his counterpart Zion Williamson lived up to expectations? No. But I think the ladder is still visible for them to be those all-star players. And you look at their lineup. They have potential. They have a veteran Evan Fournier, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, who we thought had an improved season from the bubble until now. And then you have a young guy, Mitchell Robinson, who's a Pensacola native, who's just got a big contract too. And I think he's going to be, the pivotal part of their defense. So I think they're looking at a long term. Why give up so much for a Donovan Mitchell or a Kevin Durant, where we feel like we have the team? And they still have Cam Reddish, who hasn't lived up to expectations either. But I think they're looking at the long game. Eventually, these guys will meet their expectations and reach their ladder. But I think they're fine. I think they have potential, but they just have to shape it some way, some form. I think signing RJ Barrett to a massive deal or extension was a good idea. long term, not right now.
It's a long term
Long term,
decision.
yeah,
Yeah,
long
yeah,
game,
definitely.
long game.
And now getting into just Chet Holmgren's season-ending injury and just how this affects OKC's current season. This was due to a lymphatic injury to his right foot. The team announced last Thursday, and he sustained the injury early in the crossover pro-am event while defending LeBron on a fast break. But to you, like Jeremy, like what are your thoughts on this tough injury for Chet and just him missing his first full season, plus just how it affects OKC, because there's been the comments of like his having a skinny frame and him needing to bulk up for the NBA. Like, how did you view this injury and just kind of like what he can do next year to get bigger and get better?
I hated that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing in basketball as a former player and coach, you never want anyone to get injured. That's never you never want to see that. And then especially for him to miss his rookie year and that kind of injury.
Yeah.
And coming back from that injury, you never know how that foot's going to heal. I know medicine is different now, but I hate that. As far as him getting stronger and bigger, it's all about DNA and body. I don't know that he's ever going to be a super big guy.
No.
I think he's really going to have to rely on that length and just being a smart player. So I don't know he's ever going to really get super big, but I think he's got to be like KD. I mean,
that's the perfect example.
And there's been some other guys in the NBA. I mean, you look at what's my guy from Memphis, the point guard that jumps out the gym, John Morant. Morant's not a super big dude. Now he can elevate, but you got to be strong, functional strength. So I think he'll be fine there. But I hate that for him, man. I hate that for OKC. They had a tough team last year, man. I thought they played hard. Younger team. I know they gave up a lot with trades and some different things, but I'm excited to see him get back with that team. I think that'd be pretty cool for him to get back. But I'm excited for them. But I hate that. I hate that injury. And guys play in the summer because you want to get your body going. You want to stay in shape. And you need to play a little bit. But I heard those guys were really trying to do some pro-ams to get people to see them play that might not be able to see them play in the NBA. So I give those guys 2 thumbs up, man. Thank you for giving back to the communities. I think that's awesome. I just hate to see it had to end like that.
Yeah, definitely. To you, Savon, like looking at this injury, obviously very tough for a rookie to go through that before the season starts. What are your thoughts on that? And just also, with OKC and them kind of having a younger team that's trying to get back on the rise. How do you look at that affecting them as well?
So just to piggyback off what Jeremy said, just kudos to these guys who are playing these free tournaments. Obviously, you want to work on some things or implement some things you was working on in summer against some star players or players that's pretty good, and you give the people a show for free that people are not capable of making those games. But for that, as an organization, OKC, I'm scratching my head like, I understand all that, but what's going on here? Then he adds to the list of guys that's already injured. Their starting small forward Dort is injured. Mike Muscala is injured. Eugene or whatever his last name is, he's injured. It adds to the laundry list of guys. It adds into the laundry list of guys that's already injured.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tough. They're already a young team. CP3 left, and they were 24 and something last year. So it's the transition. It was looking for Chet Holmgren to be the guy that kind of puts them into a realm that they're okay with, and then they'll build around him. But I do think this is a blessing in disguise for Chet Holmgren because he had a lot of expectations to meet because they drafted him high. He's a guy, from overseas, not a big guy. He resembled KD, but he's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had to put in the work to be who he was, and Chet Holmgren will have to follow suit just like KD did. But I think it kind of douses down the expectations. The comeback year is going to be, has expectation, but like being a rookie and coming in and knowing what you can do is extremely difficult, especially with that type of team. Young team, not been, that good. Head coaches interchanging, front office interchanging, no stability, and then your top guy that you just drafted get hurt. So so hopefully next year the expectations for him will be kind of, level playing field so he can focus truly on a basketball and trying to be the best player he can be. But man, as a GM, I'm like, you're never playing a pro-am again. Never.
Oh, that's done.
Ever,
yeah, that's
ever.
done. It's not happening again.
But it's a freak accident, routine
you can't predict
layup,
that.
going for you can't predict that. So I mean, but for an organization who's already got so many injuries, man, that's not even a blow anymore. That's an atomic bomb. That's a devastation there.
Definitely. And now getting into the big news a couple weeks ago of KD staying in Brooklyn and the Nets running it back. This was according to a statement from Nets general manager Sean Marks, and both Nash and Marks, are going to retain their jobs. Durant's 4-year, $198 million extension he signed last offseason will also kick into this year. But looking at what KD originally wanted and just all of the trade requests that were rumored and circulated, like to you, Jeremy, like what are your thoughts on this outcome, and also just what this current Nets unit has going forward, because they were a team that obviously had a ton of expectations, traded Harden last year, got Ben Simmons, and now it's going to be the question of, how this current big three will work out.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was a little disappointed with Kyrie and KD, man.
Yeah.
I've been very disappointed how they've handled themselves business wise. I'm not even talking on the court right now, but I just think some of the things they've done, I wasn't necessarily understanding. Make a decision, go with it. As far as the Nets, let me be honest with you. When I saw them play the Celtics last year in the playoffs, the Celtics looked physically bigger, just more intimidating, stronger, like they've been putting time in the weight room. I was just not impressed with the Nets. To me, the Nets looked like what when they had James Harden. It was just one-on-one. Can I beat you? Basketball. It just wasn't like that. Doesn't work, man. Like that doesn't at the highest level. That does not work. So the Nets, to me, man, like unless they change some stuff, I don't think they're going to go very far. You can only go so far with just talent.
Yeah.
You're going to have to learn how to play defense. You're going to have to guard. So as far as what happened in the offseason, I think he was just trying to kind of maybe call some bluff, run some shots, kind of pull the power a little bit. As far as them during the season, I mean, I hope Ben Simmons comes and does some great things. But that East is tough, man. They better toughen up a whole lot more than what they did. They played a lot of finesse basketball, and that's just not going to work anymore. So,
yeah, absolutely. To you, Savon, like we have been talking about this a lot throughout the year in terms of just like what we expected from the Nets, how they looked on paper in terms of just like what translated on the court. Like, what are your thoughts on KD staying this current unit running it back, and also just the changes that they're going to have to make? Because like Jeremy said, they can't play the same style of offense and expect to go far.
Well, there's a saying, you made your bed, you got to lie in it. I think he understood that there's no better opportunity for him as a basketball player to win a championship, to be top tier than Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
But I do think the Brooklyn Nets will win the Eastern Conference Finals.
Really?
I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that now.
Wow.
Now that Kyrie is fully in and he will play a full season, and they have that type of chemistry that you need to be successful in the NBA. And you have a guy who hasn't played for a while, but I think he's bought into as well. And he's going to play power forward, hopefully, and Ben Simmons. And I think he will be a good power forward. And I think they have that bench. Steph Curry's coming off the bench. They have some other guys mixed in, solid player mixed in. I think they can go the distance. They almost went the distance last year, but they got, beat by a more well-oiled machine in the Celtics. And I think once you have a full season with Kyrie there, he's missing in and out games. Ben Simmons in a distraction. KD can't do it all by himself with that lineup. So I think they're going to be okay. I think they can win the East. I think they can be in the top 3 in the East. If they get in and do what they're supposed to do and have that chemistry, it's not hard. They have the talent. I think if they have that chemistry and they buy into what Steve Nash is going to do, and Kyrie doesn't butt heads with Steve Nash and say he didn't deserve that MVP, which he didn't. He didn't deserve it. Kobe did.
Yeah, Kobe definitely
But
deserved
you can't tell your head coach that, bro. You cannot tell your head coach that. But I think if everybody's on the same page, which is extremely difficult, even for these grown men we're talking about, but if everybody buys in and the chemistry's there, they're going to be fine. I think they can win the East.
To you, Jeremy, like looking at the East, like what? Because to me, like the Celtics, they definitely stand out. Milwaukee, like if I had to put a bet on a team that I think that would win the East, I would say Milwaukee, because I think Chris Middleton not being there last season really affected them. Like what are your thoughts on just like the early like top tier teams? And Savon's not agree. What are kind of your thoughts on the early top tier teams of the East, like for next year?
Yeah, I like the Celtics, and I like, you're gonna have to beat the guys that just won. So I like the Celtics. I like the Bucks. I like teams that play defense, man, and that really learn how to move that ball. And a lot of people talk about Steph Curry and those guys shooting the ball real well, but they play some decent defense, man.
Yeah, they
Like,
lock
they
in.
rotate. So teams that do that, your shot might not be there every night, but your defense can be. And that's kind of what I really like to see in the NBA is those guys that can lock down. So I like those two teams. I think Brooklyn's got some great talent. They just
Oh,
didn't buy in on the
definitely. Yeah.
defensive end, man. And talent does not do anything if you don't play defense. You don't
Not at
box
all.
out. You're not. I mean, those guys got to get in the weight room, man. Like, that was a big deal, man. Like, they were just getting
Yeah.
physically
Yes.
manhandled.
Yes.
And at some point in time, man, like, KD used to be there, man. But I'm just telling you that Jason Tatum
He's
and that
rising up
Jaylen
the
Brown,
ranks.
man, those
Yeah.
dudes they're climbing up. They're hungry, man. They haven't been getting it, and your boy Giannis is gonna be hungry. So it's gonna be fun, man.
Definitely. And now getting into Patrick Beverley heading to the Lakers and just thoughts on what the LA's next move might be. It's one of the craziest headlines. I never thought I would see Beverley Beverley going there after all the history he's had with Russ and LA.
Right.
Like, but the Jazz sent him to the Lakers in exchange for Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson, and it also became official last Thursday. But looking at Beverley, being at the tail end of his career, just how he affected Minnesota last season as well. Like, to you, Jeremy, like, what are your thoughts on this move, and also just what it might mean for LA going forward in terms of like what their next moves might be?
I don't know what their next moves are gonna be, man. But if you guys haven't seen that interview he had the other day, man, you got to go watch that. He looked the reporter in the eye and was like, "Who was holding LeBron James accountable? I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna tell him to tighten up on the defensive end when he didn't play defense." And I'm sitting there like, "Ooh, this is gonna be interesting."
Yeah.
As far as an actual move goes, to me, I mean, Patrick Beverley is one of the best defenders in the league. I think can get in your head. How he meshes with that team, I don't know, man. I think that's gonna be interesting. But you got to have a lockdown defender. You can't have your best guy on the team scoring all the points and then guarding your bet. Like, that wears on you. So I think that'll be great. As far as how he meshes with the team, I don't know, man. That's going to be an interesting one to see what they still need.
What's been rumored? It's been rumored they're trying to get Buddy Hield and Miles Turner from Indiana. So that's been the rumor.
That'd be a good move.
Which I think would be a good move.
They got to get some youth. They got to get. I think they got to get a guy like Rajon Rondo, man. They're missing a point guard, man. A true point guard that's going to get those guys lined up, get them in the right system, play defense. I think that maybe not Rondo, but a guy like that. So maybe Beverley can be that guy. I don't know, but he's going to play defense, man. He's going to get in the other guy's head. So that's going to be some interesting one-on-ones against him and Russ in practice. I love to be a fly on the wall to see that.
Definitely. to you, Savon, like, what are your thoughts on this move? And also, like he's a lockdown defender, as we all know, and just kind of like that tenacity that he's going to bring to the Lakers.
That's it. I get why they do that, because I mean, adding to that, what Jeremy just said with the missing that Rajon Rondo figure, Pat Bev, I think, can fit. He was that for the Timberwolves. He brought that tenacity to the Timberwolves. He brought that edge to the Timberwolves. Like, Green does that for the
Warriors, yeah. Golden State, defending champs.
He does that for the Warriors. So I get it. He's not going to give you he'll give you probably 10, but he's going to give you some the extra edge. But I do think he's going to be that extra voice, that voice for LeBron. LeBron was wearing, like he said, different hats last season. He had to be a different player. LeBron, if we give LeBron what he's used to, and he's not having to do everything, like when they had the bubble, when they won in the bubble, Rajon was that guy. LeBron didn't have to look over his back shoulder. And I think Pat Bev is not, I don't think mentally as strong as Rajon, but I think he has that edge that they're missing. And I think that will help out LeBron, because he don't want to have to be like, okay, I trust Pat. He's going to do, I believe Pat is going to do what he do. Like, he couldn't trust Russ. He couldn't trust AD. He could. AD can't even trust his knees. So I don't. Yeah. So I think I get the Pat Bev move for who they else they need. I think they need a guy who's going to be a consistent 3-point shooter. Who is that? There's not many out there right now. There's rumors saying that Cam Reddish is looking to. They're looking to go get Cam Reddish from the Knicks. I mean, that would be a decent move.
Yeah.
But in the back end, I'm just not sure if that's a good enough move to go get Cam Reddish. But they do need a guy who's going to be consistent a consistent 3-point shooter. If they would have got Steph Curry, that would have been big for them. That would have been so big for them
They
because
needed
he's
that.
going to knock down and he's going to play defense for you. So,
Yeah.
but I think the move with Pat Bev was a good one, but they needed a consistent 3-point shooter. They're missing that. They're missing the guy that come off the bench and knock them out.
Definitely. And looking at the West, like to you, Jeremy, like in terms of just if they're able to possibly get a quality perimeter shooter and can make some different moves, like where would you put them in terms of the top 8 in the West? Like, do you think they can be able to get back into the postseason and possibly have a decent playoff run compared to what happened this past year?
I think they still got to add a couple pieces, man, because the West is deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, team people don't talk about, man. Everybody still wants him to get one, man. Chris Paul's gonna have to get him one in Phoenix. Phoenix is a tough team, man. Like that's a deep conference. So for LeBron and those guys to get back, I think they're gonna have to play some great basketball. They're gonna have to stay healthy. I mean, what do all coaches say? When you win a championship or you play long or you get in far, there's a little bit of luck that goes in that thing, man. Like you got to have the injury things got to go right. The players have got to mesh and click. General man, like there's a lot of moving parts in that thing. So I think they could, but I think they're gonna have to. The guy for me, man, Davis, AD's got to step up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really gonna have to.
Yeah.
He's got to play out of his mind, man, because when he plays well, nobody can guard him. But I mean, you're getting younger guys coming in that can play, man. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And now just transitioning to college football with kind of thoughts on the Notre Dame-Ohio State game. This is kind of like the premier marquee matchup for this upcoming weekend, and both teams are ranked as preseason top 5 opponents, with Ohio State number 2, Notre Dame as number 5. And the one thing that has constantly been reiterated is that the Buckeyes offense is just so versatile, and there isn't one area that you can focus on. But to you, Jeremy, like, what are your thoughts on this matchup, and who do you kind of think should have the edge early on?
It's a tough one, man, because Notre Dame beat my Seminoles in the last year, man. that field goal, that was tough, man. I'm really rooting for Notre Dame's coach, Freeman. I really want to see him do well, their new head coach. As far as Ohio State, from the South, we don't ever root for Ohio State.
Yeah, no,
so,
never.
I can't see myself rooting for Ohio State. So if I had to choose someone I'd like to see win, I'm not a fan of either, but it'd be good to see my man Freeman there, the head coach, get a dub there. I mean, I think it's gonna be a great game, man.
Yeah.
Like, how many quarterbacks transferred from Ohio State, man? Like, they had some guys in their quarterback rooms. So that, I mean, to me, that right there says a lot. Like it or love it, man. Their head coach is a great offensive mind as well. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think it comes down to anything: who's going to turn the ball over, who's going to be able to have great special teams, and who's going to give up those big plays. So it's going to be explosive. I think Ohio State's got some pretty explosive wide receivers as well. So this thing is going to be fun, man. I'm excited to see how it goes down.
Absolutely. To you, Savon, like, what are your early thoughts on this matchup, and just kind of like who do you feel as though possibly should have the edge in terms of who has the more pivotal X factor?
I think it's gonna. We always think about the quarterback, the running back, the wide receivers, the DBs, whatever. I think this game is going to be won in the trenches, and I think I always look at Notre Dame as a running team first because they love going into I formation and they depend heavy on the run game. They're possibly going to be out without their All-American candidate, Jared Patterson, left guard, from a sprained ankle. He's pivotal to their run game, and I think if he doesn't play, it's gonna show. I don't know who they're gonna replace him with, but I think it's gonna be a game time decision. But it's gonna be won in the trenches. Notre Dame is big on running the ball. I would have loved playing for Notre Dame, put my fingers in the ground, and let's go at it. But I think when we think of Ohio State, they always have some phenomenal defensive ends. Excuse me. Front 7 guys like Bosa's have been there. I forgot the guy Chase. It wasn't Jones, not Chase Jones. Wow. Went to
Chase Young.
Chase Young. There we go. Chase Young. Big guys like that. They love. There's always run in the trenches. Thank you. But I don't know. Quarterback situation, they're in and out. But I think it's going to be one of the if they can get the running game, both teams get the running game started, open up some play action, get the quarterback settled down, and it's going to be a star-studded game because both of these teams are coming off good seasons last year. Both came up short. So let's see what they have in the tank.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking outside of this matchup, like in terms of like what's the most interesting game besides this, like the one I would point to is Georgia Oregon. I think that's going to be another really interesting matchup. Seeing the defending champs start off the season against a quality Pac-12 opponent like Oregon. To you, Jeremy, is there any other game upcoming for this week in college football that you think might be like a really intriguing one, or just a very like interesting type of game?
Yeah. I'm scrolling through the games right now just to kind of see. I think that Alabama Texas game is going to be interesting.
Mm.
From just some of the back stories from that.
Right.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Florida does their first game. Utah's at Florida. That's
Savon's
not an
team.
easy game,
Savon's
man.
team.
Yes, Utah's sneaky good, man. I
Yes.
think that one right there could be an interesting one. There was another one that I saw when I was just kind of scrolling through the other day. Texas A&M, man, like they play Appalachian State. Whenever you play Appalachian State, you always think of that Michigan game. What
Oh,
happened
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
last kick. So I think Texas A&M's a
Your
pretty tough
guard's
team.
up.
Yeah, your guard, but you've got to be thinking that. So I'm just scrolling through. I don't see any other ones that I would think would cause any issues. I mean, there always can be, but man, it's like you just said earlier. You said on paper. But we don't play paper sports, baby. We play sports on the field, on the court. So you never know what can happen when that thing goes down. So that'd be
Absolutely.
interesting.
Definitely. To you, Savon, are there any? I know the Florida game is definitely going to stand out to you.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
are there any other games that are kind of the intriguing ones for you?
I'll have to go Oregon Ducks and the Georgia Bulldogs because
Yeah.
we have a 3-year guy who's played against Georgia and hasn't had a good season or good games while playing them. It's Bo Nix. And the Oregon Ducks are expecting to start Bo Nix in this game. And I just, after 3 years, because he was a true freshman for Auburn, how many or how much film did you watch and how prepared is Bo Nix to go against the defending champs that he's played against for 3 years straight and has not won a game? So it was a different team, different environment. What can he bring to this Oregon Ducks offense? Are they going to throw a lot? Are they going to pin on the RPO, the run play action? What are they going to do against Georgia? And can Georgia defense and special teams get them to the point they got them last year? A lot of guys have, went to the draft, are doing big things. What do they have left in the tank? I know their offense is going to be good, but their defense won the championship to me. They got them there. Special teams got them there. So I'm interested to see what Georgia Bulldogs can bring to the table and what Bo Nix can do. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Oregon's number 11. Georgia's number 3. Let's see what happens. So, okay, Bo Nix, it's your time to shine for the fourth time. You're 0-3, buddy. Redemption.
Yeah, the redemption story. And I'll get into the NFL. Just thoughts on Tom Brady's recent absence from the Bucs for 11 days. Brady recently spoke for the first time since his 11-day absence, tending to what have been described as personal matters. He also said that Saturday he felt good and that it was not a difficult decision to step away from the team at that particular time. But to you, Jeremy, like, what are your thoughts on Brady? Taking some time away, and just thoughts on what his mindset will be for another year, because he originally had that retirement, then came back, and it seems as though it's one of those things where, as Brady is as motivated as ever in terms of just anytime he comes off a postseason loss. But what are your thoughts on just his particular absence from the Bucs and just what he has going forward?
Yeah. So I was working out in the gym and I actually saw his interview on ESPN or ESPN was playing it. And when I was working out, I was like, something ain't right. Something ain't right with Tom Brady, man. Like you can just tell. I don't know if there's a hesitancy or if there's something going on, but something's kind of got his attention to where I don't feel like he's 100% in right now. So I hope he's okay, man. Like I hope somebody's really checking on him, make sure his mental health is good, make sure he's okay physically. A lot of people just want to see production. What are you going to do for me next?
Right.
But you don't actually check on the person. So I hope he's okay. He's a great guy, man. I hope he does well. He's going to be motivated. He hates to lose. I hope he's not trying to play and do things for other people. And he's really, truly 1,000% ready to roll. Because that's how you get injured, man. That's how you get hurt. That's how things happen.
Yeah.
I hope he's good to go. I mean, I don't want to have too good of a game against my boys, but I hope he's okay, man. I'm a sports guy, so I don't ever want to see people hurting, man. But I could just tell something was going on family wise with him.
Definitely. To you, Savon, like looking at the situation, Brady being away, obviously it's
Mm.
different. We're not used to always seeing that happen with Brady. Like, what were your thoughts on that? And just also like there's things off the field that it can even challenge the greatest ever, and they're just personal matters that sometimes players have to think about than just what's on the field and what they have to do every year.
Yeah. Okay. People act like he was gone for like 5 months. The
Yeah, they,
guy was
they were
gone.
dramatic. It's being built up. Like they were like,
He was
Brady's
gone
back.
2 weeks. That's it. He's not going to play in the preseason anyway. So like he
Right.
played. He was gone for 2 weeks, 11 days. I'll give you 2 weeks, 11 days. You need to step away. Like it's okay. It's
Yeah.
not. He's not like he's not bought in or he's not ready. Like Jeremy said, he's fully ready to. But sometimes you got to step away because he's a father, he's a husband, he's a business owner, he's a friend, he's blah blah blah. Like he has other hats besides GOAT quarterback, GOAT player that ever play football. So you need those times to just step away. It's 11 days. Come on, be easy. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
They're going back to the playoffs. Come on, guys. Come on.
we all know. Yeah,
We already know that. Yeah.
definitely.
They got the squad. They got the team. Yeah. Just it's 11 days. Just chill. It's a story. Everybody wants a story.
It's a storyline.
Oh, Tom Brady didn't eat his Wheaties this morning. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
And now getting into thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo, coming back to San Francisco, obviously Trey Lance has been named the starter, but with him coming back for one season, it's a 1-year contract that's worth $6.5 million in fully guaranteed base salary, and Garoppolo's restructured contract also includes a no trade and no tag clause that ensures he'll serve as the backup to Trey Lance this season, and then we'll be able to explore unrestricted free agency in 2023. But to you, Jeremy, like looking at Garoppolo coming back to San Francisco, being in a different role now, he's led them to a Super Bowl before, been to the NFC Championship last year. What are your thoughts on his role with them, and also just what San Francisco can do going forward, because they were just in the NFC Championship last year, but still have a really good roster with a young quarterback.
I thought that was big time, man, for them to get him back. I thought for sure he was gone. A guy like that, I've got plenty of, I've got a few years in me that are good. I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to start. But that just comes to show, man, you never know what can happen as far. And what I've heard somebody say, man, in order to win a good championship, you always need a decent backup quarterback. I'd play for $6.5 million for a year.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take that.
That might not get you much out in California. That's what they got. But I really thought he was going to get traded. But I love the professionalism of how he handled it. If you guys can trade me, great. If not, I'm going to be back ready to roll. I'm going to help this cat out if I can. I'm going to be ready to play regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that takes a lot, man. That's a very humble man to be able to do that. So I hope it works out for San Francisco. I hope they do great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got is Deebo Samuel back on that team, man. They got a great player there. So
a lot of talent.
He's phenomenal. I mean, all you got to do is hike the ball and get it to him, man. Like it ain't too hard. So
yeah.
But yeah,
absolutely. To you, Savon, like looking at this, at Garoppolo coming back another year, San Francisco is just a very, very talented team. Has been been a Super Bowl, been the NFC Championship last year. Like they are always competing at the top, especially with Shanahan and the play calling he can do. Like, what are your thoughts on Garoppolo coming back and just what his role can be going forward for a really good NFC team?
Everyone has a security blanket or a backup plan, I would say, because once it's NFL or any sport is a business first, so you want to have that backup plan. If Jordan Love doesn't live up to the expectations or do what he's supposed to do, now they have Jimmy for a backup plan that's possible to make sure they're straight. But I think Jordan Love is more than capable of doing so. But you want to have that backup plan, and probably nobody wanted Jimmy Garoppolo at the price or what they were asking for. So his value went down once you lose a Super Bowl, once you lose in the conference championship. When you keep losing, your value goes down. But I think it's perfect position for Jimmy to be in, just in case Jordan Love doesn't live up to expectations or live up to what he needs to do.
Well, Jeremy, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, and just as many times have you been on in the past. And thank you so much for being back on, sir. It was great.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I appreciate it, man. I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up. Stay encouraged, man. Like keep doing what you love. Some kid came in my class today. And he said, "Man, Coach, I got a dream, man. Is it crazy?" And I said, "No, man. Don't ever stop dreaming, man."
Yes,
So I
sir.
love that you guys have probably thought this thing out. You dreamed it.
Yeah.
Now you're living your dream and you're doing something you love, man. So congrats, keep it up, and I'm humbled to be on, man. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting into our album reviews. And to start off with the first album review with JID's The Forever Story review, and just kind of like where this album ranks among the best this year. This is his long-awaited third studio album that captured just so much of his lyricism and versatility. It has a boom bap mode, just recaptures the sound that made just so many dedicated hip hop fans fall in love with him originally. But what are your thoughts on this album and just the strongest elements of it? Because I mean, JID, we've even said it in the past, like he doesn't miss. Like this album to me was just masterful, and just not him just only having phenomenal rapping, but just artistry, in general, and just the features he was able to put on it. He really put together a great body of work.
Man, and I think I've said this before. He finds ways to make his verses so interesting outside of his writing ability. It's his melodies within the verses. I mean, the hooks are always nice. They're they're catchy. They have some oomph to them, but it's the verses that, because you always remember the hooks or the chorus or whatever, but the verses sometimes you will hear a few bars. But when it comes to JID, the man, I just don't like. I'll be baffled sometimes. Like, yo, how do you find that within the beat? How do you hear that melody, that specific melody, and then you know how to switch it back to something else? And it's just like, it's crazy. Like
That's
his
crazy.
ability to write, his ability to find melodies within the verses to keep them interesting, so it doesn't seem like you just the bouncing ball when somebody raps, but he switches it up so crazy and it's so effortlessly. Then he goes back into another tone and pitch. Man, it's not a lot of people can do that, and JID is definitely one of them who's mastered, like truly mastered it. But yeah, man, he's he checks boxes.
This was phenomenal. In terms of just like favorite tracks, I mean, Radar to me was a really good one. Can't Punk Me, definitely. Stars. I think Stars was an amazing track. Money, and also Just in Time. Like, were there any tracks on here that you kind of felt as though like were the main standouts and just some of the best ones?
Hey, first of all, you get Most Def on here.
Yes.
And he went by his real name, which is kind of cool. Yazzie Bay. Radar. Yeah. Radar was fire. Dance Now grew on me. I mean, and then you have Can't Pump Me with Earth Gang. I'm a huge fan of both of them. Yeah. I mean, they're used to this. Spill Village. Like, I mean, they know how to work with each other. They know it works. Just in Time with Lil Wayne was a good one. Better Days is growing on me. But yeah, Radar's my favorite. That's how you start an album.
I was about to say, like, he picked the right intro. He had the Galaxy one that was just kind of like a short, like, 30 to 45 second something to build you up. But Radar, just as the first official song, like, man, switched so many flow patterns and styles. It was bonkers.
Wellington.
That was
I just want to be in the room. I don't say nothing. I'm in the room. I'm taking notes.
Taking notes, yeah.
No, not a fly on the wall. I want to sit
actually
in the
be in there.
chair.
Oh yeah. You actually want to be in there. Yeah. I feel
like
you.
a little
I feel
kid.
you.
Like, bro, how are you? Like, I just want to take notes.
Yeah.
When you're writing, how do you write? Because it's different for most artists. How I write, it's like, listen to the beat, or I try to fix something that I already wrote that I thought was dope. I don't know if he does that. Like, I just want to see how you write. How does your mind, like, think of different melodies within the verse? Like, come on, bro. Is it just like, do you think about it hard? Do you just like, all right, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to go to the next song and come back? Like, I just want to, his process. That's all I want to know. I just want to know how he writes. Yeah.
Definitely. And like, to you, like, what are some of your, like, best albums this year, or like best rap albums this year, that you would say that you would compare this to and just put it at the top?
Best rap albums. I think this was definitely top 7.
I would have to put Vince Staples up there.
Vince Staples was a good one.
Kendrick.
What's his Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe Fiasco, yeah.
I'm infatuated with how he rhymes and his cadence.
Man.
Lupe Fiasco's album was really dope to me. There's another one.
Joey Badass.
Joey, yes, thank you. Because there's so many albums that I've listened to this year. Sire the Kid was a good one for me. It was in my top 7. I think he's so underrated. Reasons didn't drop this year. He dropped a single. But I think this is definitely top 7. I'm thinking I'm missing a bunch of other albums, but this is definitely top 7.
Saba as well.
Yeah. So, Saba was dope too. No. Did I like Saba's? I won't put it in my top 7.
But not in your top 7. Okay.
Not in my top 7. I won't put it in my top 7. But this is like number 5 or number 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this was definitely dope. Like, yeah, he's
up there.
He's underrated too. Like I don't know what his fan base is like or what his numbers are like when he first dropped, but I know that he has it. He has the it factor. He got everything.
Oh yeah.
He can freestyle off the top of the head. His hooks be dope. He got bars for days. He's lyrical. His melodies are insane and just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he checked boxes. You know what I mean? And he's cool. I watched some of his interviews.
Cool, collected, man.
Cool collected, dope guy.
Yeah, really like him.
Down to earth, but he knows he's that guy. Though.
He knows he's that. Yeah. He walks around the confidence like, yeah, I'm him. I'm really him.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a lot of people whose pen can match his pen. No.
Nah, definitely. And now getting into kind of, obviously this has been a verse that everybody has talked about. Everybody's had some type of thoughts on in terms of Jay-Z's guided verse, and looking at it in terms of just the length of it, him talking about the human cost of disconnect between past and present, obviously being an eloquent advocate for criminal justice reform, and just adding a moment of grown reflection. Like, what are your thoughts on this verse and just what Jay was able to cover throughout it? Because no matter, obviously, like, he's had a lot. There have been so many better verses than this. To me, this was a good verse, but to put it like in top 10, like some people were just like, they're about to crown it like call. I'm like, guys, like Jay, I was listening to so many Jay-Z songs and albums like in the past week in terms of just like what's better.
Yes.
And like you there's a lot you can pick from.
Show me what you got. Verse is better than this verse.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Like his first 8 or 12 bars made people go crazy. Like how many billionaires I made. Like he said, no, wait. His verse with Drake's
Love All.
No, not Love All.
Oh no,
nothing was the same. Pound Cake verse is better than this verse.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing verse.
Come on, man. So this, I think, is just he made billionaires, but after a while, I was like, he's not really talking about nothing. Because he freestyles.
But kind of getting into like your closing thoughts on this verse and just like what he was able to add in through it, because like there are points in an artist's career where you can tell like he's at the peak. Like everybody knows he's solidified as one of the GOATs in hip hop. Mm-hmm. It's a different level. So I heard somebody was saying like he can flow so well skilled, but there's a different level of just like perspective he's at. It's just like it's no longer I'm on the come up. It's look, I'm literally a billionaire. The people my acquaintances I'm with, it's just completely different. I can't relate to what you guys are going through. So it definitely was like to you, like what were your thoughts on just like the different level of just the lifestyle that he's talking about and just the different space he's in?
It wasn't, I mean, if I got a grade, I'll give it a B-, because like I said, it was 8 to 12. Oh, I'll give it 8 between 8 to 16 bars that he had, because the verse is like 4 minutes long.
Yes, it's long
like,
verse. After
he talked about, was in the office, now we in the corner office. After that bar, it kind of like waned. So it wasn't more so like an intellectual flow. He was just stating the obvious, really. Like, I mean, the billionaire bar was fire.
It was fire.
The office bar was really dope. Like, it was okay. But I think Pound Cake verse was really.
I had Benz's for you had braces. That was crazy.
Ben made me. If he wasn't in his feelings,
he was talking his talk on that song, man. He was talking.
Now
he
got a carrot cake. Like, bro, that verse is top 5. Why people ain't going crazy on that verse? I still listen to this day.
Yes.
He didn't murder Drake, but he got Drake.
He got Drake on that one.
He got Drake on that verse. He got Drake on that verse.
Not a lot of people have gotten Drake on the verse, but he got him on that one.
But Jay, that verse, and then
Yeah.
his verse on "Don't Kill My Vibe" was straight, but Pound Cake was definitely top 5. But this not even top 15, bro. You know how much music this man got?
That's the thing. The extensive catalog of music he's made. You can't put something like this already up there.
Y'all thinking the first 16 bars it's a 4-minute verse. I want to say 4 minutes, but it's a long verse.
It's a long verse, man.
What's gonna have
down like how long has he been?
45 seconds.
What's up with Ross? 45. Like, and now transitioning to our Larry June Spaceships on a Blade review. You know, this is his eighth full length album. You know, as there's a symphonic opener, a lot of just luscious tone to it. You know, featuring co-production from DJ Khalil, and just the overall sound of the album is admirably diverse. Like, when you look at this album and just kind of like the different producers, he was able to have on it, and just like the West Coast feel of it. Like, what were your thoughts on this album, and just kind of like what he was putting together overall?
This is 8th album.
Yeah, it's 8th full-length album.
I didn't like this, Wellington.
Really?
I don't know if it's the West Coast vibes, bro. I didn't really vibe with this one. Like, I like a couple of Larry June songs, like the song he got with
But a full album, you're like, nah.
Well, yeah. After a while, I was like, it's like Blacks or Blick. I never can remember how he pronounces his stage name. Blacks. Yeah. Like, Blacks is different. His West Coast is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But it's catchy as a vibe, and how he raps in that way. It's not even how it's. I think it's the West Coast, because the feature with 2 Chainz, because how 2 Chainz rapped on the beat, I was like, yeah, it's the beats, it's the production, it's the beats. Mm-hmm. It's because I like 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz my top 10. 2 Chainz could rap.
Oh, he's fire.
But yeah, this wasn't. Yeah, I think it's the beats. Like, I like Larry June as a rapper because he's different in how he raps, because it's like a slow, but it's like it hits, but it's just certain. Like, I can't do a full album with the West
21 songs
with the same. It seems like the same version of the previous beat. It just changes a few things about it. I just couldn't do it.
And that was another thing I want to get into, because overall I did like this album, but I feel as though what kept it from being really good was that it got repetitive, like throughout. Like even with what you were saying in terms of just like certain songs, like kind of like continuing what a previous song's production sounded like. Do you feel as though that may have been like one of the top main issues with this project, was that it just wasn't as diverse throughout, and it kind of like we mentioned with JID earlier? There wasn't at one point where we felt as though it was getting repetitive or just like the same, like he was switching it up. This one, it felt as though like it was just like very stagnant and just going throughout the same route.
Same pitch, same tone, because he doesn't rap any different. He doesn't change any pitches. His flow is same with each song. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have different production. You're going to have beat drops. You're going to have to keep the listener engaged. But if it's the same beats, in the same voice, and the same, like, after a while, you be like, I think it was like song number 6, I was like, they ain't gonna switch up the beats. They ain't gonna. What are we doing?
Switch it up.
We're not gonna switch it up. So it's just like, I like him as an artist, but I think albums. I thought about this. I like Larry June in dosages. Like, I'm not a super fan or a fan. I wouldn't call myself a fan of Larry June. I like a couple. I like at least probably one track of his. And he got with Dej Loaf, because it's different. Because she has auto-tunes on it. She's singing the hook, and the beat is kind of different. But like, for this one, like, it's the same thing over and over. And I know when he sends these for the feature, I know 2 Chainz was like, bruh, how I'm gonna do this? I need the money though. I gotta do it. I gotta figure it. But 2 Chainz verse, it didn't feel like he fit with the beat either for Still Booming. It didn't feel like he fit the beat at all. So I wasn't bombing with this one.
Didn't work. And even certain, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, the Breakfast at Monaco with The Alchemist. The Alchemist is able to, like, he really can save some artists, honestly, because he never misses with his production. Like, he's just one of those producers overall, like he's just always gonna elevate what an artist can do, and I feel as though like that was a great collaborator to have. Like, are there any other producers that you can look at in hip hop in terms of just like when an artist has them, it's gonna be very hard for them to like not do well on a song with their production in terms of just like the level of output that they really give.
Boy Wonder for
Yeah.
sure. It's all OVO. Dang it. What? Why I can't remember his name now? Drake's main producer.
Main man, 40.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah, 40
40's
kills it.
one.
Always kills it.
Kanye.
Mhm.
Kanye rarely misses when it comes to production because he started as a producer. Dude can make a sample out of anything or make a beat out of anything. So my top one producers right now is Alchemist and Boy Wonder. Like Boy Wonder has grown over the years, and his production is because he's worked with so many different artists. So and Alchemist does too, and I think Alchemist is like really funny. So I think I connect more with Alchemist because of Action Bronson and the show that they were on together. But yeah, those three, yeah. 40, Alchemist, Boy Wonder, Kanye. I can't think of another producer right now, but those, yeah, they don't miss.
Yeah.
Because 40 created a whole ocean wave sound that was a pivotal part of Drake's.
Yes.
Boy Wonder does like his beat, like his interchange of where to put an 808 or where to like his placement is crazy. And the Alchemist he's an experimenter.
Yes, very experimentalist.
Yeah, and he'll find different things that don't like. He's a chef, literally a chef. He'll find different things that you wouldn't think your palate will like or your ears, and you'll put them together, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay,
that works."
So yeah, that works. So yeah, Alchemist is definitely a chef when it comes to producing, and I mean, Kanye is Kanye's simple king. So yeah,
definitely.
I think yeah.
And now getting into Tempest So Gone review featuring Naomi Wild. In her latest second single, it offers a glimpse at Tempest's, artistic versatility and just finds her meditating on the pain and confusion in terms of being in a complex situationship. This just entire track is really about, empowerment and self-awareness that finds the rising artist leaning into her acoustic sound. But what were some of your thoughts on this track and just also, how Naomi Wild was able to fit on this song?
I thought it was a vibe, bro.
This was dope.
Yeah, this was a dope track, bro. Like it was.
I feel like it's something SZA could have killed as well.
I just got attacked.
Oh goodness, he's still with us. He's still with us.
I just got attacked while into my flight. We got a suicide flight here, bro.
Yo, this episode, y'all. We're trying to keep it together. We're just trying to keep it together this episode.
I really gotta take my flight.
Oh my goodness, man.
But yeah, this was a vibe. But like, I don't think I ever heard of Naomi Wild, but I liked her verse. I like her voice. I like her style. I think this song was overall dope, bro. Like it was a vibe. This is something like subconsciously you would think about, like the beat and the production, and you be like, what's that song? I know this song. I heard it before, or I just listened to it, and it makes you go back and listen to it, and try to find it. That's what I think. This is a sleeper. This is a sleeper track.
Yes, it's sleeper.
I think yeah, this is underrated. I think this is a vibe though. Yeah. Well, Reese hand clap for Wellington for finding a good one. Wellington be finding tracks, man. We gotta give Wellington his flowers, bro. Wellington be finding tracks.
Look, now and also another announcement that as soon as I saw it, I was like, Savon's gonna go crazy over this. Ari Lennox new album dropping next Friday. Any early expectations? I mean, we've been talking about her last few singles and just like what she was able to do with them, but what are you kind of expecting in this next project from her?
She's gonna sing her butt off. She's gonna have. What I love the most about Ari is she has a way of finding a love path with her music, and certain stuff she be capping on.
Oh yeah,
but she like I don't know, bro. She can make the ABC song sound so good, or she make peanut butter jelly sound so. It's just like she knows how to sing. She knows her strengths. She knows how to bring the most out of a song, the most out of the lyrics. And like from her EPs into her singles into her latest album with the one she dropped a couple of years ago, man. Yeah, I'm expecting just her to be her. I think I said this last week or the week before. We didn't do podcast last week, but like I expect her to be her. I expect her to put out consistent music, and
Yeah.
she won't miss. Yeah, I'm ready.
So I'm gonna be fire.
I'm
High,
ready.
high expectations for this one. Yeah,
She
definitely.
better have SZA on it too.
Oof, man. But before we get to the review, the SZA Ari Lennox song, that's the one we need. That's the one we. If we get that, I'm selfishly just wanting a new SZA feature, just so I can hear some new SZA music. Honestly,
Yes,
like that.
bro.
That's bro. Like that would be a crazy track.
Like when we got her on Summer Walker's album on No
Oh
Love, I
my
was
goodness,
like,
no love. That was
yes,
crazy.
yes.
Still listen to
So
that summer
either
album.
yeah, so either SZA or Summer Walker on it, or like I would love Drake to get on one of her tracks or have her feature with Drake or a song with Drake. I think that would work. But yeah, wishful thinking though.
Have they ever done anything together?
Nope, not at all. I don't think she knows she. I don't think he knows she exists.
I know. I'm like Drake. Do you even know she exists? Oh my goodness, man. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back with our Bronx Tale review. Welcome back to the show, and now we're getting into our Bronx Tale review. And to start the overview of Bronx Tale is a 1993 crime drama film directed and starring Robert De Niro in his directorial debut and produced by Jane Rosenthal, adapted from Chaz Palminteri's 1989 play of the same name. It tells the coming-of-age story of an Italian-American boy, Calaguro, who, after encountering a local mafia boss, is torn between temptations of organized crime and the values of his honest, hardworking father, as well as racial tensions in his community. It had a budget of 10 million abroad and 17.3 million in the box office, and also has a 97% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But what are your thoughts on just a film that had a solid script, terrific cast, and just De Niro's work behind the camera?
Solid film. Solid,
Yeah,
solid film. I think Martin Scorsese kind of rubbed off on Robert De Niro and his
definitely.
his director, and this is his director debut. I think what a film, man. I remember watching this at a young age and not knowing New York was like that. It was split between towns and black and Italians. Italians didn't like black and like Italians, and it was just a whole bunch of a lot of stuff. But I love uh the lessons within the movie,
A lot of lessons.
about love, about trusting people, about respect and fear. And then Westcom talks about that a lot. Not Sonny. Yeah, Sonny. Sonny
Sonny,
talks
yeah.
about that a lot in the film about I'd rather be feared than loved.
Mm,
But I'm
that's a
getting
heavy
ahead.
statement.
Yeah, boy, yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, I just love that it was one. It was realistic.
Mm,
Two, a great cast. Great cast. I mean, it's hard not to love a Robert De Niro film. And Chaz is a good actor too. And then you have Terrell Hicks who
mm.
plays Jane. She's well known in she's well known in the what is the bootleg films.
The exactly.
And then Joe Pesci has
He has
a
to get in. He has to get in.
yeah, he has a little cameo. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So, but no, I thought this was definitely a solid film. Well shot. I
mm.
liked how it was shot. It wasn't nothing crazy, but I think it was a good film.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like when you look at an actor like Robert De Niro, who's had just an illustrious career, like
Mm.
in terms of him getting into directing for this film, like, do you think it's one of those things where even an A-list actor like him, like they want to do other things, they want to kind of get into different paths, just to see how they can stretch themselves and expand, what they can do in the repertoire?
Oh, of course. You act in so many movies. You're like, okay, I've gotten good at this. I know what my strengths are. I know what I could do. The films I've been in are very successful. What's next?
Yeah.
So after you act, you want to be a director. After that, you want to be write write a screenplay or write a
Yeah.
script. Some people skip the steps, but I think once you master something, you want to master something else. And I think
Mm,
this was a good start film for him to be being a director. A lot of people do that. Ben Stiller has done it.
mm.
Matt Damon, who's on set yelling at one of his one of his stars or whatever. He's like, dude, if you're not wanting, like, yeah, there's a video that's out a long time ago. The guy that played in Entourage, actually, he was yelling at him. But a lot of actors who mastered acting go on to be directors, write write scripts and screenplays and stuff like that. So I think that's the next step of be mastering it. Just cinema in its entirety. Yeah.
Definitely. And I'll get into our first topic from 1 to 4 stars. What would you give it? Like to you, what would be your particular rating for this film and some of your reasons?
I'll give it 3.5 stars. I'll give 3.5
it's up there.
stars. Yeah, it's up there. I want to give it 4. I think some of the script or some of the scenes didn't resonate or hit as much as it should have. And I'll get to that once we get into the favorite scenes, and I'll just add that to the tidbit. But it was like some things that didn't really hit like they thought it was gonna do, or some stuff that could have been left out. But overall, the script was solid. I think it was shot decently, and I think the cast was pretty good. But overall, I love the lessons that were hidden and the lessons that were actually visible in the movie.
Yeah. I would go with 3 with this film because it was just a cautious and capable start to De Niro's directing career, and just it's filled with just great lines of dialogue and had so much life within it, and colorful characters. But getting now into favorite character, I would go with Sonny because he just gave off just distinctive intensity towards people who cross him, and even though he wants to solve the problems in his neighborhood, he's unaware that he's the problem, but still loves his community, which is just a driving force for him overall in the movie. Like, to you overall, like, who was your favorite character in this one?
I think Robert De Niro's character, Lorenzo, because hardworking guy, drives a bus, does the right thing, he doesn't have like this luscious life, but he has the morals and the principles. And then when he stands up, you stand up for people. You don't want nobody to mess with your son. Like, excuse me, there's a lot of guys like that who's blue collar, who does the right thing, who goes to work, cares for his family, puts food on the table. And I think his character resonates because I see it a lot. When I was growing up, a lot of guys like that, a lot of like males like that. So, and then once you stand up to a mafia, like, I know who you are, I know what you can do, but you're wrong. You're wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna back down. I don't care who you are. That's my son. Kill me, do what you want to do, but that's my son. I'm gonna stick up. So like that resonated a lot for me. Yeah,
definitely. And now getting into most memorable scenes, I had Sonny rescue C. Also, Sonny warns C about his friends. The murder scene from near the beginning of the film, when C, as a young kid, witnesses it in the neighborhood. Also, the door test when C goes on his first date with Jane. And the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. When Lorenzo talks to C about life goals and making the right kinds of decisions. The motorcycle bar fight, and then finally Sonny's death. Like, to you, like, overall, like, what were some of the memorable scenes in this one for you?
Once again, you got all of them. I'll add one more. The scene where Sonny confronts I forgot his nickname. What did they call Calogero?
C.
Yeah. C. Yeah. When he confronted him, he was like, "Did you put up on my? Where did you go? What did you use a cover?" He was like, "Man," he's like, that scene, like, I think Sonny realized, like, deeply realized his statement about I'd rather be feared than loved, but C really, really loved Sonny like a real father, and I think he saw that in his eyes.
He saw somebody trying to replace him as a father.
Yes, and he was just like, he was like, okay, he definitely didn't do it. You know what I mean? So like that scene resonated because you just realize, like, what he said throughout the movie, and then like I don't fear you, like, I love you, bro. Like, I don't love you because you like I'm scared of you, but I love you because what you taught me, what you like, you know what I'm saying? I thought that scene was really, really dope. And then my favorite scene is when, she locked the door and she reached over and she's a keeper.
He went crazy. Yeah. And now getting into most memorable quotes, I had the saddest thing in life is wasted talent from Lorenzo. Also, I was getting 2 educations, one from the street and one from the school. That way I'd be twice as smart as everybody from C. Also, you stay away from that bar. You don't see me going to the bar, do you, from Lorenzo? And then also, sometimes hurting somebody isn't the answer from Sonny. And then finally, but you can ask anybody from my neighborhood and they'll just tell you this is just another Bronx Tale from C. To you, like, were there any and also obviously from Sonny, like, I'd rather be fear than love, like that was kind of like
Mhm.
the reiterating quotes in this movie. Like, what were some of the memorable quotes that you had from this one?
Oh yeah, Sonny had a bunch of
He
them.
took a lot of them.
Man, I'm just gonna try to give you one. um, Jeez. The biggest one, him talking about the test or whatever, but also him talking about when he first met C. He was like he was like what's your name? He was like he gave him his name. He was like oh, that's too long. What is your friend called? You got a nickname? So it's just like that was the birth of C.
Yes, of
Like he
C.
kind of birthed, like gave, because he was a straight arrow kid, and then him meeting Sonny and being able changing his identity a little bit and call him C. But other than, you already named all the Sonnies and Robin De Niro's or whatever. But yeah, Sonny had a bunch of them. Like, I'd rather be feared. That was my favorite. I'd rather be feared than love.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And I mean, like also, like, looking at just like how there have been so many past mafia films, that have kind of like even influenced one like this. Like, in terms of, the directors, like the Scorsese's, the Francis Ford Coppola's from The Godfather, like, how much inspiration do you think De Niro took from like those movies in the past that we've seen countless times,
Mhm.
and then try to put it into one like this one that isn't, as mentioned up as those ones, but it's still a really good film that's in that category?
Yeah, I mean, this screenplay or film is not far fetched from Martin Scorsese's or any other Italian led film. It's literally the the blueprint. Mafia, regular guy. You got love in their family. You got lessons. You got killing. You got beating people up. Somebody has to die.
There's always a life lesson with a mafia movie.
Yeah,
Literally always.
don't mess with family.
Yeah,
You
it's always
teach young
family.
kids up. It's the same thing. So it's not like it's far, it's too far off of like a Martin Scorsese film, like Goodfellas or any other.
Casino.
It just wasn't like heavily mafia. It was
Right.
more so about love. You know what I mean? So love with with friends, with it was just mostly filled with love. You get a hint, or what I'm saying, a little splash of
dose. Yeah.
mafia, but it's not like crazy like the regular mafia films. But it's not too far off. I think this film is in the blueprint of Italian films, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
absolutely. And now getting into like, what did you like the most about the storyline? To me, it just provided as many lessons about parenting as it does about love, as we've mentioned. It also goes into depth, highlighting the injustices of Italian Americans and also
Mhm.
the Black community. To you, like, what did you like the most about this storyline, and also just the thought of the tension between the Italians and Blacks in the movie? That was a really heavy part in it that they didn't shy away from. So kind of like, what did you like about the storyline, and also that racial tension that they touched on later in that movie?
That's real. That happened in
Yeah.
real life. That was so real. And uh not Malcolm X. uh wow, Spike Lee used to talk
Yeah.
about it in his films or whatever.
And Do the Right Thing, even.
Yeah, Do the Right Thing is definitely heavily Italian in Black feuds. So that's realistic. That happened all in New York. They really didn't rock with each other, and I think that was, you have to implement that, because then interracial love. You got Jungle Fever was another one that was based in New York or whatever, based in that area. So I thought that was super realistic. But what I loved about the film most is the life lessons about testing, about loyalty, about love, the stretch how far you would go for love and loyalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just the mantra of wanting to be feared. Because he had to. He had to, something had to happen for Sonny to start thinking that way. Mafia led boss or not, it's something that led you to that place. To think you just want to be feared, you don't want to be loved. So, but I love the life lessons that you have in there. Blue collar dad wants the best for you, showing you how life is supposed to be. Then you got this extravagant, illegal life. And, you always got to have the morals and principles. But yeah, the life lessons that this film, had in it.
And even the wife was thinking like, hey, Lorenzo, you might want to take that money and do the job. But he was like, look, I'm not going down. That was the craziest part of it. She literally was like entertaining, like, hey, like, that's some good money. But he's like, I'm not going down that way.
Like, yeah, like she's tired of living in this little square foot box or whatever upstairs, and you drive a bus. We don't have, that life is, that
It's
lavish
appealing.
life is, it's definitely appealing, especially to a young kid, especially to a wife that's tired of eating beans. But what are you gonna do?
Tired of having beans on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tired of these beans.
But getting into our last topic 10 years from now, like, do you still think it'll be watchable, intriguing? It obviously has passed the test of time. Like, and I always ask this question because, like, there is going to be a newer crop of viewers that watch this film. They're not going to see it as much as they do, like, the other mafia movies that we've grown accustomed to see over the years. But what do you think this film will show differently for even newer viewers another decade from now?
What it will show? I think it will show the love. Love has no color. Love has no, gender. Love has no depth. I mean, love has no longitude or latitude. Love, just love is just love. And I think that plays a big role in this film. And I think they'll learn loyalty. How far loyalty, and what you have to do to gain true loyalty. But I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not far off from any other Italian mafia
from
film.
Thai movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. Just added. It wasn't just heavily mafia. It was more so showing you the everyday life of people, and then whatever. But
yeah, and before we close out, like, we spoke about this being De Niro's first directorial debut. Like, are there any other actors you can think of, that you have a lot of respect for, that have also done the directing that you think have been able to switch over into that category well and do an efficient job?
I said Matt Damon, Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt has directed a couple films that were actually pretty good. I think he had a directorial cut in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, in which I love that film. I thought it was really dope. It's funny. It has a lot of action. It's just, those are the ones that come off the top of my head. There's some other. Not Jamie Foxx. He never did. Yeah, that's all the top of my head.
The main ones.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm host Winter Burns, and let my counterpart Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.